Welcome to I Feel Fat Today. I'm your host, Kelly Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me. It is another Friday. I don't have any video for the intro of the podcast, and we're doing a very short intro because we're going to get right into it with our guest. But first, let's do some housekeeping. Head on over to our YouTube channel, I Feel Fat Today podcast, where you can like and comment on the videos and subscribe. Please subscribe if you come across this pod and you like what you hear. We have full video episodes over there on YouTube each and every Friday. After that, head over to Apple Podcasts where you can give us a rating and a review. Give us a 5-star review. If you give us a 5-star review, your review will be featured on the I Feel Fat Today Instagram. And I do blur out the name of your little Apple ID handle. So don't worry, I won't call you out. But I do like the nice words, and giving a 5-star review helps the podcast get out to more people. Send us an email at ifeelfattoday@gmail.com if you would like some advice. We have had some emails come through that have been fun to read on the show, where I give out some advice. Maybe not the best advice, but advice nonetheless to help you deal with your annoying family who is rude as hell or feeling sluggish after the holidays. And you can follow the podcast on social media. You can follow us on Instagram at I Feel Fat Today, and me, your host, Kelly Taylor, at Hello, This is Kelly. Oh, man. All right. I am coming off of having a nasty cold. Nasty cold. So I didn't have it in me to set up a camera and do a whole intro for you all. So we're going to get right into it with our guest this week. He is one of my really good friends, somebody that I started going to open mics with a few years ago. And he's a kind, gentle, nice boy. And I really enjoyed my conversation with him. Without further ado, please welcome the very funny Mike Bramante. Hello, Mike Bramante.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You were asking about Babastis.
Yeah.
When you walked in.
I've met him before.
Yes, you have.
And he's very chill. I like that.
Yeah. I saw you and Mancusi. You guys just started a podcast together, right? And he has a cat.
Well, we call it a show.
Show, okay.
It is distributed where all podcasts are distributed. It may be the same format, but everybody's doing a podcast. So we're doing a show.
You got a show.
Yeah.
And that's respectable.
Yes.
You guys go against the grain.
Yes. We always have. We always will.
Absolutely. That's what you can expect from a Bramante Mancusi production.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
He's got a cat, though.
Yes, a new cat.
Yeah.
This is a new addition. What's that cat's name?
Manic.
Manic.
Which is a great name. It came with the name.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been. So our show is called The Mike and Mike Show with Manic.
Manic Mancusi.
Because he's running around all over the place.
The Mike and Mike Show. That reminds me of like Mike and the Mad Dog.
Exactly. Or Mike and Mike in the Morning.
Or Mike and Mike in the Morning.
On ESPN.
Hell yeah. Lots of Mikes in the sports world.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I like it. I respect it.
Yeah. But I like cats. Was always a dog person, but I've warmed up to cats in the past few years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just a bias on my part, but I feel like individuals like yourself that have OCD, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
I feel like OCD people don't really like cats.
Yeah. I mean, I was always kind of scared of them and worried that they were going to claw me. They kind of sneak around, you know?
They do sneak around. They definitely do.
But there are some that, like one of my best friends and like growing up has like 2 of them now, and I was visiting him recently. He's staying with them. These cats were like following me around. They love me.
Cat magnet.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then when they sit on you and purr, that's like the best feeling ever.
And it's scientifically shown to help decrease anxiety in the human body.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
It definitely did.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah, but Bass is his name. Joe named him because when I got the cat, his name was Jude because my friend Judy rescued him.
Yep.
And so the rescue that like she was working with was like, okay, well, just to keep track of all these goddamn cats that we have, we're just going to name this one Jude because Judy found it.
Right.
And so when I saw his photos on Facebook and I was like, I had been thinking, because remember when I was fostering cats?
Yeah.
They had like little kittens.
Mm-hmm.
the kittens were fun, but I didn't want a cat that I was going to be like beholden to for the next 20 years or however long cats live.
Yeah,
So,
forever.
Yeah.
9 times over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I saw his photo, and between the frostbitten ears and like the fucked up back and tail from being hit by cars numerous times, I was like, well, that's probably knocked off like 5 of them.
Yeah,
you know? So I was like,
how old is he?
so she told me when I got him, which is 2 or 3 years ago now, like that he was 12. I don't know.
So he's in cat. Is the same thing with dog ears as cat ears?
Jeez, Finn.
Like
I don't know. I feel like that's all hocus pocus, anyways.
Yeah.
Like I don't like. How do you determine that?
yeah, right.
You know?
Well, look, what's a cat's lifespan? 15?
Cats can live 15, 20 in some instances. Like my one friend's cat just passed away. He was 18.
I mean, he doesn't look to be like he's doing very much.
No, he lives a very sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah, so I don't know if that plays
Yeah.
into it, but
Probably. Like my one friend, also named Mike.
yeah.
He's like, every time I come over, it feels like Bubastis is Benjamin Buttoning. He's like
he's
aging in reverse.
Oh, that's good.
Which I'm like, oh, that's great. That's like a high compliment.
He's kind of like falling asleep, sort of.
Yeah.
I'm worried about him.
No, he's good. He's good.
Okay, good.
But his name, the
Yeah.
whole point of telling the story is his name, according to Joe, because I got this
Just
from
gonna
Joe.
wipe my nose. Sorry. Go
Yes,
ahead.
of course.
The bestest name.
Bubastis was the first city in ancient Greece that worshipped cats.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And he has like a pharaoh look to him.
He does. He
So-
does. He's
I
very
mean, I
regal.
guess isn't that what cat does? So yeah,
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
I do. I like him.
And because whenever I invite people to come on to the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
because I record in my apartment, I have to like give them the rundown. You know, it's like
Yeah.
2 animals. But I'm like, well, Mike's been here before.
I've been
with
here.
The animals. So
Yeah. I get it. It adds to it. Like for ours, we thought about putting Manic in the. We tried to put Manic in the bathroom, but he just was.
No one puts Manic in the
He
bathroom.
was freaking out. So it's just like, all right, if he's gonna be a part of it, he's gonna be a part of it.
And then they kind of like become the unofficial mascot.
Yeah, they do.
Unofficial official.
Yeah. And then, he was really warming up to me. So again, I don't know, maybe cats like me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think Finney can sense how when people like Bubastis, and he
Yeah.
has to like do this to like
got it.
to earn your affection because he's like a total only child. I just crossed 7 years of having him.
Wow.
So I had him like 5 or 6 years before Bubastis came into the picture.
So he's used to being the go-to
The
guy.
head hunch.
Yeah,
You know, he doesn't like it.
No.
But
He gets jealous, doesn't he?
yeah, oh yeah. Anyways, only
Anyways.
child syndrome. Speaking
Yeah.
of, you have siblings.
I have 2 older sisters,
Okay, how far apart in age are you from your
3 and 6 years. So,
Oh my god, that's kind of like me and my brothers.
Oh, really?
So I'm
Yeah.
the middle child.
Yeah.
My older brother is 2 years older than me, and my younger brother is 6 years younger than me.
Okay.
So it's the same.
You're the oldest.
I'm the middle.
Or you're the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the middle. So maybe this is only specific to me,
Yeah.
and my voice is like this because I'm getting over a cold. You're
Yeah.
not going to get sick
Don't
from
worry
hanging
about it.
with
I'm
me.
not worried about it.
But I feel like with my younger brother, I always had more of like a motherly kind of relationship with him. Like
Yep.
he actually just had an extra ticket to see Tim Dillon actually
Yeah.
at Stress Factory, and he's like, "Oh, Kel, I have an extra ticket. Like, just do you want to come with me and my friends?" And so I went, and I just went in knowing that I was going to pay for everything.
Yeah,
because I'm
of
like,
course.
these are children. Like,
Yeah.
this is a 20-something-year-old child.
Right. He's a child. He needs to be taken care of.
Exactly. So is that your relationship with your sisters?
Yes, they both mother me as well as my mother mothers me. So I am very mothered
Is
all
it
the way
so
around.
annoying?
It's annoying to some. There's benefits and there's pros and there's cons, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
pros is I'm treated, like a prince.
Yeah,
The cons are they're always in my shit.
absolutely. They want to know about every date.
Yeah,
you know, how,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't tell them much, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of quiet in that way. I don't know.
Is the way of the boy. in
Is the way of the
family.
boy in the family.
Absolutely.
I think moms are used to the girl sharing everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then me and my dad don't ever say anything.
Yes.
So there's a bit of a balance.
These Bramante men.
Yeah.
Men a few words.
Yeah, so we probably could both go towards the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is.
Totally. Okay, interesting. Okay, so, and where did you grow up again? I forget.
Upstate New York.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's called Endicott, New York.
Endicott.
It's near Binghamton. Ever heard of it? Probably not.
Is it like freezing there right now?
But it's freezing. Yeah, it's like freezing here too. So it's like, I don't know, an hour south of Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
So there's cold winters, a lot of snow growing up. Like, a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Way more than the city.
Totally.
Yeah.
I grew up in Jersey, and I remember winters being like fallout. Like it was like you couldn't leave your house for days on end. But like I feel like we don't get winters like that anymore.
I know we don't. But listen, it's fine.
It's fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we touched on it a little bit, but you do have OCD.
Yes, I do.
So how long have you known that you had OCD? Like, were you a child that had OCD like tendencies? Or
definitely. So I can remember going back to like 8, 9, 10 years old having it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like, so for example, like one of the things I would do is when everyone would go to bed, I would sneak out of my room and like kind of do my ritualistic shut down the house to make sure it was safe.
Yeah.
This would be a combination of things like, just touching the wall a certain amount of times, or like unplugging the toasters, making sure all the doors were locked. But like I had all sorts of like, rituals of like touching things and, superstitions to like make sure it was all safe.
Yeah, so that the house didn't blow up.
Yeah, exactly. So, or like, somebody didn't come in break in. Safest neighborhood in America. All right. I think everybody left their doors unlocked. But the only house that had the doors locked were ours because I locked them.
You call ADT security. Like, we need to set up a security system for the Bramante.
No, nobody even like everyone's doors were open.
You had the Schloman shield.
I used to go to we did have the ADT sticker for a while before we ultimately.
Everybody had the sticker.
Yeah.
No one had the service.
I
think my parents still have the ADT sign in the front porch.
We finally got the thing. I don't know, probably when I was in high school or whatever, but now it's like it's like Fort Knox in there because my sister is kind of similar in that way.
Okay.
Where she still lives in the house I grew up in, and she has a kid, and she's very like always like set the alarm.
Yeah. So you were like 7 years old running around your house.
Exactly. But that's just like one example. But like there's many things that I could look back on, and actually I think we sort of acknowledged it, where not in the way of like, oh, he should like get help for this, but just like, oh, this is part of his personality.
Right. Yeah. Mental disorders were personality traits in the 90s.
And my sisters would joke about it, and my parents, they'd just be like, oh, Michael has OCD, that's, he worries about things, they'd make fun of me. But it was like, and but I didn't at the time think either, like, oh, I need to go get help for this.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, honestly. Like, I think, and I'm guilty of this as well, where I can be kind of hard on my parents for not taking things more seriously, but like whatever, you're just anxious, and sometimes that's annoying because I'm a mom and I work,
right.
So I totally get like where our parents were coming from, where it's like, oh, okay, Michael just like runs around the house and does this or whatever else you do.
Right. I don't know how much they knew about that, but like they definitely would see that side of me.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you you were probably an adult when you decided to go into therapy for it? Or?
Yeah. So it was like my mid-20s where it got like post-college, it got like just very overwhelming. Like just like every decision. So I have what's called magical thinking.
Okay.
Which is like I do essentially rituals or kind of what you would call superstitions to prevent my fears from happening, right? So and this could manifest in a lot of different ways. It could be how many times I count things, or the time on the stove clock when I leave my apartment. It's got to be a certain time, or exercising, got to do a certain number of push-ups or sit-ups or exercises. And it got to the point where I felt like every decision I was making had an impact on whether or not my fears were going to happen.
Right.
And so that's the magical thing, is like things are not connected.
Yeah.
But the feeling is so strong that they are.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
That's essentially what it is.
Okay. Interesting. And like what were your routines or what, I don't know what
Yeah.
you would call them, but like at your worst, what were you doing?
At my worst, it was really like I'd have like really, really bad moments where like, there's one example I always tell, which would happen, like I'd be at the grocery store and I couldn't pick out, choices were an issue for me.
Okay.
So there'd be like there'd be a million bananas there. Which, bundle am I going to get? Right? And I would keep picking one and I'd put it back. I'd pick one. I'd walk around the store. I'd put it back because it all meant something like, oh, if I had this bundle of bananas, it means I'm going to die. If I have that one, it means my parents are going to die. If I have that one, it means my sister's going to die. And then then you're just like getting that cycle and you're choosing bananas for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there'd be times when I would go up to the register, not feel good about it, go back.
Oh,
if they were reviewing me on the security camera footage, they would be so confused.
This guy's casing the joint.
Yeah, exactly. They don't know what.
Yeah.
So they're the really bad moments when I'd spend like an hour or more trying to make a decision like that should take 2 seconds.
Right.
And that would be the case. I remember I couldn't leave my office. I'd spend like an hour leaving the office because I'd like fix things at my desk. I'd leave to the exit and I'd go back and I'd like pick up things off the floor and I'd have to pick up every speck off the floor or something bad was going to happen. And I'd be the last one in the office, only one there, running back and forth between, the exit and my office.
Yeah.
And it'd just be stuff like that, which was really like made it unbearable.
Totally, because that's not only is it a time suck.
Yes.
Like, because you have this banana dilemma.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not only a time suck, it's like, you look weird.
You look weird.
Yeah.
It's not rational.
No.
It's not a rational thing to do. It's an irrational anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense while you're going through it, but you can't stop yourself from doing it. So that's part of the anxiety-provoking nature of it.
Right.
So, it wasn't great. So I started going to therapy for it, which I had to do. I was like, and I think they diagnosed me within like 10 seconds of being there. They're like, tell us about your history. I started getting into it. They're like,
okay,
I'll leave with a diagnosis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's very funny. Like you sit down and like they can just like taste
tell.
you just from looking at you.
Yeah. We don't even need to get a second opinion.
Yeah, no, you got this.
Yeah.
And like OCD is not really something, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, but like is that something that you can go on medication for? Not that you would.
So I am on medication.
Oh, okay.
And I have been for 3 years and it's been working for me.
Yeah.
It's been as good as it's ever been. Well, I'd say it's probably like 90% gone for me. I still have a little bit of in me, and I relapse a little bit here and there, but it's not nearly as bad. Instead of hours a day doing the banana thing, or things like it, it's down to minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, I got very lucky because it's just so happened to work for me.
Yeah.
But I've been in group therapy and I know other people who have OCD and I know they've been trying medications and it doesn't work for them or they have bad side effects. And so like for me, I was in therapy years, 3-4 years before I started to take it because I was concerned about taking it.
Yeah, which that is like I was in therapy for a few years before I had taken any kind of medication.
Yeah.
And I'm since off that medication that I was on.
Oh.
And now I'm totally, just out here fucking white knuckling.
Well, I don't know how you do it.
I mean,
well, maybe you trained your mind and your
exactly. It's like all like you have to like learn how to have a brain that doesn't think something bad's gonna happen.
Right.
How do you feel? And maybe you don't care at all.
Yeah.
But like, is it annoying? Because this would annoy me if I was someone that had like your kind of OCD. When people are like, "Oh, I'm so OCD."
Yeah, I mean, I know they just don't know what it really is.
Yeah.
Right? So there's this stereotype of you got to keep things clean or you need things a certain way. But the difference between having a little quirk like that is like that thought comes and goes. Somebody with OCD is obsessed with it. That's the whole nature of it.
Yeah.
And they can't get over it and it interferes with their daily life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole difference. I know people just don't really know what it is.
Right. Right.
So, it doesn't necessarily offend me, but,
Right.
nobody, what it really is and it, like, it could be very not stereotypical because, like, everyone's like OCDs, they're clean and they're organized. Yeah, that could be something. But, like, for me, I couldn't get dressed.
Right.
Where, like, I'd try on a shirt and I'd felt like my fears were gonna happen, so I'd throw the shirt. I'd try a new one, and I'd be getting dressed for an hour and a half, and you couldn't see my floor.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
there'd be clothes everywhere.
Right.
And they'd be like, this person has OCD.
Right. Well, I know people with OCD that live in squalor because like they're just paralyzed.
They're paralyzed. I can't do anything.
By it's like the decision making. I think
Yeah.
it's like executive function something. I don't know. There's like a name for it.
Yeah.
But I know people who have OCD who are absolutely paralyzed. And then when they have someone that is more of a clean OCD person come over to their place, it's kind of like the perfect relationship because it's like, okay, you're paralyzed in fear sitting on the couch. I'm going to come over and clean, not me, my friend, like I'm going to come over and like clean up for you because I can't chill in this space.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. No, it's true. But like, so I guess what I learned, especially from other people that have it, like you obsess over different things.
Yeah.
And some people have
the obsessing.
very, different obsessions. Like some of them are like, I'm worried I'm going to push somebody on the subway tracks.
Intrusive
thoughts. Intrusive thoughts. And like maybe we've all, because intrusive thoughts just happen and a lot of us get them. Everybody gets them.
Yeah.
Again, the OCD person like obsesses over it. So then the OCD person's like, did I push somebody on the tracks?
Right, yeah.
I got to go check. Like,
yeah.
And like that sort of thing.
Yeah, because there's what you're describing, like the intrusive thought of like, I have to make sure I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like, because I feel like I used to have intrusive thoughts like that when my anxiety was really bad.
Yeah.
So do you find that anxiety is something that will make you relapse?
Yes, it does. Yes. I think that, well, it's anxiety disorder, right? So it spikes when you have attacks what you care about. At the end of the year is always very tough for me because I'm always like, I get like time is a big issue with me, even though I was wasting a lot of time choosing bananas. Like just like how much time I have left or the people around me have left, you know, even talking about it like sort of spikes my anxiety a little bit.
Right. Absolutely.
But like end of the year, new year kind of like brings a lot of those thoughts around. I'm usually visiting family.
Well, yeah, because you're going home for the holidays.
Yeah. So all of those kind of like come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about resolutions? Like, does that play at all into?
I mean, I sort of like do I sort of make broad ones, but then I guess I've made a little more specific ones this year which are kind of like goals, but you can't like your stuff you're just striving for.
Right.
I think they're a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
It doesn't really. Yeah. Like I guess that sort of plays into like the timing of everything. Yeah. But it's it's really just more of just the idea that the year's ending and time's going by so fast.
Yeah. That it is. For I think any person who is at all aware, it's like it is like freaky, like how you try to be so present. You try to like. I remember all for 2023. I was like, I want to savor each like month. I want to like really feel the month that I'm in because every year. You know, Thanksgiving comes around and I'm like, wow, it's over.
It's over. Yeah.
It's over already.
I always am in this mindset now where it's like always my birthday because I'm just getting older every day.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, now it's the new year. It's basically my birthday again. I have 6 or 7 months till my birthday, but I'm like, well, it's here. It's going to be here in no time.
Yeah. And it will be here in no time.
And then it's going to be
always my birthday.
It's just like I think well, as you get older, mentally, you've been around longer, so each day feels like I guess less like each day goes by faster. Like if you're 2 years old, every day is like I think I heard that's some sort of theory. Maybe that's a math thing where it's just like if you haven't been around that long,
you don't have a concept of time.
You don't have a concept of time.
Yeah.
Or it just feels longer than what it is.
Yeah. Well, over the weekend I was sick and so I was just like drowning my sorrows in NyQuil.
Yeah.
Because I just had such a headache that like I couldn't like lift my head off the pillow.
Yeah.
And I thought like if I was like on my deathbed and they were like, all right, you have one wish.
Right.
Or not one wish, but like if like, all right, I'm gonna snap my finger and you're gonna snap into a random day in your life.
Wow.
You know, like I'm like, it would suck if I got snapped into this day. Like if I had to spend Sunday, January, whatever, just like in bed, just dying, you know, feeling so ill.
That's
I'm
a pretty good premise for like a movie or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah.
Good ideas. I'm full of them. I probably heard this on a podcast. Nothing is original.
No, it's not true.
Everything is just like something I've heard on a podcast.
But, well, there's so much information out there. You don't even know anymore.
I know. You don't even know what you're gleaning.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, so, like, the concept of time, it's like, as we get older, like, I used to really hate myself for like having a day where like I just spend in bed.
Yeah.
But also I'm like, well, I have so many days where I don't. So it's like whatever. And so many days can feel so long.
Yeah. I mean, I think also like you got to have a balance. Maybe if you're like, I want to take advantage of time so much, but like you're just going to spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
And like then you'll be sick for a week.
And then probably get sick.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So it's just like,
yeah.
I don't know. You just got to be in the moment.
Yeah.
Well,
that's it, really.
That's all you got.
Oh, man. The one thing that I think I do that is a little bit OCD is if I am going to the tiny cupboard to host a show, there's this one playlist that I have to listen to on the train ride to Tiny Cupboard.
Are you
you
associate the bomb with it? Okay.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's OCD.
Yeah. Like I have to do it, and like the reason why I sometimes don't think that it like is 100% OCD is because sometimes, not often, but sometimes I do forget.
Yeah.
Like I'll just be like walking along, and then like I'll be like a few blocks away, like fuck, I didn't listen to my playlist.
Yeah, but that is sort of like the thing though. Like there could be something that I'm very much obsessed over, but then as soon as I let go of it and move on, I almost forget about it.
Yeah,
minutes later,
that's
because I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed about
the next obsession.
I'm not focused on the bananas. I'm focused on my clock on my stove.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't even remember the bananas.
Totally. The bananas are so yesterday.
Yeah, I can't even believe that I even spent 2 hours picking them out.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, man. So you mentioned like workout OCD. Like how is that manifested?
Yeah, that can be a dangerous one because like when you're working out, like your heart rate's up, your mind is racing a little bit more. So that would manifest in like if I'm on the treadmill, I got to run to a certain, time.
Right.
And then when I hit that time, that doesn't feel good, so I keep running.
Yeah.
And it just, when you get in that cycle and you can't get out of it, sometimes, and this still happens a little bit to me where, like, I'll go back to the machine. Like, I'll be finished, like, I did the stationary bike for 20 minutes. And then I leave it and I come back and I turn it on again and I pedal again for another minute. And if people saw them again, if they were paying attention to me, they'd be like, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
Right.
But so I'll still do that, but it's not as bad as it used to be. But that's kind of the.
Are you thinking like people are paying attention to me?
Sometimes I like look around and I'm like, well, who's like paying attention to me? Because they'll be like weirded out.
Yeah, I would be opposite. I would be thinking like everybody's looking at me.
Yeah.
Like everybody thinks that this
I don't know.
insane.
I like to maybe I think I'm pretty good at hiding it. I think.
Probably
but I don't know.
because you had a lifetime of essentially kind of hiding it.
Lifetime of hiding it because you get embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially if you're like the odd man out.
Right.
And like you don't have maybe parents that understand what you're going through.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can also pick up when other people are doing it. Like I'll see people in the city that like, just like maybe they're walking down the sidewalk weird or whatever, and I'm like,
they're avoiding a crack or something.
I could pick up on this. Probably everybody could, but I really can.
Yeah. OCD people, like, how like alcoholics will be like, "Are you a friend of Bill?"
Yeah.
And gay people are like, "Are you a friend of Dorothy?" I think that's what that is.
Yeah.
Like OCD people are like, "Are you a friend of, I don't know, Clark.
Wait, like they know those people, or you're just saying like that's a way to?
That's a way to like identify
Yeah.
somebody like on the DL.
Got it.
Yeah,
It's like code.
Are you? It's a code. Like, are you a friend of Bill? Is a very common Alcoholics Anonymous.
Got it.
thing.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Okay, so that's interesting when it comes to the working out. What
Yeah.
about eating? Like, has OCD
Eating?
impacted? Well, you're also vegan.
I've been vegan
I
for
totally forgot about
I
this.
know, like over 6 years now.
Yeah.
Honestly, it didn't. The OCD thing really didn't play a factor in it that much. It didn't play a factor in my decision to do it. There was a period of time where I was like, all right, I don't want anything that's like cross-contaminated. And I don't know if that was OCD or more preference. Sometimes there's a gray area.
Yeah.
But that was influenced by other things. But yeah, that's my diet.
Why did you go vegan?
I had one of my best friends worked at a vegan restaurant in the city, Peace Food, and that was how I was introduced to it, just because he was working there, and I'd go there and eat. And then I watched a couple docs.
I literally was
documentaries.
just talking about this. I think it was last week with my
Yeah.
guest Mark Henley. We were talking about what influenced his eating habits changing, and I think he said he watched Food Inc. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, like I think I watched What the Health, and then,
Oh yeah, What the Health.
and then but what really got me is like some of the YouTube factory farming stuff.
Those are.
And I just couldn't like unsee some things.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just not even appetizing. Like
Right.
I can't even like think about eating an
Yeah.
animal.
Right.
So I get it. I did it for a long time. I think everybody should do what they want.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You
but
know,
like,
speak your
it's just
truth.
what I want to do.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
to me, I can't even like.
You're like, it makes your stomach turn.
Yeah. Right now, it makes my stomach turn to
Yeah.
think about doing it. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, that's totally valid. I go through periods of like, I hate when I'm eating like a piece of chicken and then like it starts to taste like I'm eating a piece of chicken.
Yes,
like
right.
it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't know.
It's a little cringy.
A little cringy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally. And I feel like this is conspiracy brain. I try not to be like this, but I feel like this idea that vegan food is gross is like factory farming funding that idea. Like,
Yeah,
I think
well,
it's
like-
big agriculture. Like,
Well, what else is animals are gross.
yeah.
Do you,
Like, this guy eats
you see what he'll eat anything that's on the
literally
ground.
anything.
So I think my friend told me this where like also this is maybe a little bit of more of a spiritual sort of thing, but like if you see like videos of like the chickens or the pigs like or
Yeah.
the cows like ready to get slaughtered, a lot of them are they know what's coming. They're very anxious. They're like shivering.
Yeah.
And it's like all of that anxiety
Yeah.
you might be consuming.
I think that's valid.
Yeah.
I think that's a very valid thing.
Maybe that's more of like a spiritual thing. But
I mean, if you look at like humans, like the mind and body being connected, like if you're not, I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
I feel like this could go for anybody. Like if, like I used to have a bad stomach thing where like
Yeah.
if I had anxiety, it was just like, oh my God, like my stomach was wrecked,
yeah.
you know? And so it's like you have this anxiety flowing through you, like it's affecting the
Yeah,
way your
it's an
body is
energy.
functioning. And so that makes sense that like if there's fear coursing through
Right.
the animal that you are going to consume right before up until death, you know,
Maybe.
now you're maybe,
It's a theory.
but also enchiladas.
Yes, of course. Yes.
But you know, I have to say, because there was, he's not anymore.
Yeah.
But there was a time where Joe was vegetarian, and so I only cooked vegetarian. And the meat substitutes are
Yeah, they're not bad.
like honestly, like now even though when we go out to eat, have meat, Joe will have meat, I still cook very much vegetarian because I'm
Yeah.
like, well, now I kind of prefer using this like plant-based ground beef.
Yeah. Some of it is
as
very
opposed to-
good. When people say processed, I mean, I don't really even know everything that goes into that, but like
There's just so
Isn't
much
like-
to keep up with.
but isn't like meat processed
Meat is
too.
very much and stuffed with hormones.
That's what
Just
so there's like
chock
each
full.
thing has their probably negative qualities. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you should eat Beyond Burgers every day or
Right.
Impossible Burgers. Like I treat it like a regular burger. I'd eat it every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, yeah, I guess I don't even know what processed means, but I don't even know if there's a way around it in today's. Like, what are you going to get that's not processed? How are you going to get it? You have to source your own food? Like, do I have to have my own farm or, like, factory?
These little victory gardens
Yeah.
that people used to have during the war.
I don't have my own garden,
Yeah.
so I got to go to the grocery store. Everything there is probably processed to some degree. I don't even know what that means.
And Amazon owns everything, too. So
Right.
it's just like, I don't... Yeah, I'll go to Whole Foods, but, like...
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos owns that, too.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's an Amazon processing that's part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So who knows? He probably, you'd be putting chips in all of it for all we know.
Right, exactly. Whatever, chip me up.
Yeah, I'm
it's
chipped.
so hard.
We're all
Yeah,
chipped
we're all
anyways.
chipped.
We got the
Yeah.
phones.
I
We
know,
have phones.
literally. I have such a digital footprint thanks to
Yeah.
comedy.
Of course.
I put myself out there to be just relentlessly ridiculed on the internet.
We're
and
out
like-
there. Our lives are out there.
Yeah.
And, it's, I guess it's what we have to do for comedy.
I
but-
know. It's very annoying.
Yeah.
It's very annoying.
Yeah.
But like I really, really enjoy the gigs that we get to do.
Yes,
thanks to
me too.
our
Yeah.
bud.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just want that.
Yes, of
like
course.
all of this, like I really enjoy this podcast. I do.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the conversations are great. People are super interesting. But like, I just want to
Well, a lot of
tell
this is
jokes.
so we could do more of that.
exactly.
That's what the whole thing
Exactly.
is for. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I want somebody who happens to see me at a show be like, oh, she's cool. Let me follow her on Instagram. Oh, she has a podcast. Oh, I can get more of her.
Yes, of
That's
course.
why we do this.
Yeah.
You know? But I've never told my parents don't listen to my podcast. 'Cause
Yeah.
like it's kind of like don't ask, don't tell.
That's what I do the same method.
You know?
Yeah.
But I also can't get mad at them for listening.
No.
Because it's out there. It's on a public
And
forum.
they probably want to know about our lives. So this is
how
an
they
indirect
find
way of me sharing it with them. I know my mom will probably find this somehow.
Hey, Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
Hey, Mrs.
She'll probably listen. She sees all my clips. She likes all my clips.
Well, your clips are great.
Well, thanks. But, she doesn't miss one,
Yeah.
and she supports it all. Every time I would have a flyer, she would repost it.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's very nice, but I get, self-conscious about it because also... But I think, one of our friends got this advice early on, and she relayed it to me, which is you can't do a very public thing in private. So this is a very public thing. Obviously, performing in front of strangers is, a lot better.
Yeah.
But, it's part of the whole thing. If you're going to be a comedian, you got to share your life and people are going to see it.
I like that. You can't do a public thing in private.
Yeah.
I think you can have aspects.
You
of
can have
your life.
aspects. You
yeah,
can have aspects.
absolutely.
But you can't be off. I guess you could be off the grid, but it'd be difficult.
Good luck getting booked.
Yeah. Do you even exist if you're not posting on Instagram?
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, there was something. It was it's just on the tip of my tongue.
Vegan diet.
No. You can't do a public thing in private. I don't know. It'll come back to me. But I think also, I think people need to pay a little bit more attention on how they feel after they eat.
Yes.
Because anytime because you get ridiculed pretty relentlessly
I do,
in the friend
yeah.
group for
Yeah.
being vegan, because it's
Yeah.
always having to find a place that can service you, which I don't think is that hard.
Most places
I don't
at least have an option.
exactly.
And I pretty much can go anywhere because I'm
Right.
not I'm on board with it doesn't have to be a vegan restaurant, but they're gonna have an option for me, whatever.
Yeah.
If there's a little cross contamination, it's don't ask, out of sight, out of mind.
yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. I think that
If they cooked the fries where they cooked the chicken nuggets, fine.
sometimes it's just
Sometimes it's gonna happen.
and even maybe you don't want to admit it, it's a little bit of a win.
Sometimes
Because
it's
it
a little
does
bit of a
taste
win.
delicious.
Sometimes a little bit of a win. Maybe I'm getting my nutrients that way.
Yes.
So,
Through the grease.
through the grease. So you can't. That's a big part of OCD. Actually, is you can't control everything, and you just have to accept the uncertainty. That is the uncertainty of life. You have to accept it and live with it. That's the foundation of OCD therapy and treatment. Life is uncertain. You can't control it. You're willing to live with the risk that whatever you do, ritualistically or not, is going to impact your life. You don't know if it does or not.
Yeah. Well, has there ever been a moment or a time, it could be on a small scale, on a large scale, where you were proven right in one of your magical thinking delusions?
I mean, probably.
Right.
But, like, I can't really trace it back.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because for me, if it just takes me being proven right once for me to be like, see?
Right. No, exactly.
I mean,
like,
that's more of like people talking negatively about me, where it's like, oh, that person on the internet is reiterating what I think about myself. That means it must be true. Like,
Yeah.
I'm saying something like that. But I mean, it's good that you can't trace it back.
I think, well, there was just like so many thoughts flowing at one time of like, just like probably so many times I thought if I did this, I was going to bomb or not get passed,
Right.
or somebody was going to die or whatever. Like my grandma died.
Yeah.
But she was whatever.
Grandma
you know
was
what?
always going to die.
Grandmas are going to die.
Yeah.
Right. Things are going to happen. And when they do happen, you deal with it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, I'd almost be like, this is a funny story. I don't think you were there for Ben's rehearsal dinner, but like,
No.
So when we were on a flight doing one of these gigs, he had a panic attack on one of the flights.
That's okay.
I told the story at the rehearsal
Yeah.
dinner, but like in that moment, I was like cool as a cucumber,
Right.
right? 'Cause it was actually the start of COVID. It was March 2020.
Oh, wow.
And it was like the day before Tom Hanks died. Didn't die. He had got COVID.
You were joking.
Yeah. He basically died because he got COVID. He was in Australia. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was all over the news.
He died in Australia.
Yeah. So and then we were like, oh, should we go? Should we not? We didn't know at the time.
Yeah, it was a weird time.
Yeah. So then we flew to Chicago. It shows us we're going to be in Milwaukee. Ben is convinced that he has COVID when I see him at the airport, whatever. So then we fly all the way to Chicago. Things are getting canceled left and right. They're canceling the NBA season. They're canceling the NCAA basketball tournament. People were getting like text messages. Oh, they're going to shut down flights. We're not going to get back to the city. Like,
I have a contact.
Somebody has a contact who says all flights in and out of the city are going to be shut down. If we don't get back within an hour, we're screwed. Literally, like that was what we got. That was the intel that we got.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, we ended up like taking an Uber to like a CVS to get him a thermometer, and he didn't have a temperature. But then we're just like called our guy, and we're like, I don't know. Ben seems like he's sick. What's going on? We're like, he's like, all right, go back. So we flew back to Chicago,
God.
and then on the flight back, Ben has a panic attack on the flight. Like thinks he has COVID. And at one point, he was like, do you think I should tell them to land the plane? And I was like, nobody's landing anything. We're just going to get back. You're not going to say anything to anybody. We're going to get back to the city, and then we'll figure it out. But he ended up taking, like, I think, probably a lethal amount of anxiety medication that could kill a horse, probably.
But not Ben.
But anyways, that's all that to say, at the time, like I hadn't been on medication yet. I was still very much in my OCD life. I had gone through years of therapy, but I wasn't like cured or like managing well. But in that moment when he was like freaking out, I was able to be his rock.
Yeah.
So,
but
it was kind of like one of these things. It's more like anxiety about things happening than when they actually happen. So that's kind of like the lesson there.
Totally.
All that to say, where it's like, when they actually happen, all right, you just got to deal with it.
Yeah. It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you sound like a good crisis friend.
Oh, yeah.
Like a good friend to have in a crisis.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe wise because it's like, you don't realize it, but I've already thought of how this could go sideways.
Every other time, not good to have as a friend. In crisis, that's where I thrive.
No.
But that is kind of the thing. That was kind of like the joke of like people I was in OCD group with over Zoom during the pandemic is like, well, welcome to our life now.
Yeah.
Because this is what we think every day.
We think every day that the government and the city and the world is going to shut down.
Right. And there's danger all around us.
Yep.
And you have to be careful. You have to watch every move.
You have to wipe down all your groceries.
So that is a very, like that whole thing was a very OCD-like experience for everybody. And it's like, well, This is just every day for us.
Yeah, it's so funny how birds of a feather really do flock together. Like the fact that you and Ben are such good friends and you met through comedy, and like everybody's just so neurotic.
Of
really.
course, of course. Yeah.
So
Well,
great.
I'm thriving. I'm doing well now that
You
I'm on
really are.
medication. Well, thank you. But Ben, no, he's doing well too.
Does OCD, and I didn't prep you for this, so let me know.
No worries.
But does OCD affect your dating life?
Yes. It has much more in the past than currently, just because of the medication now. But again, it would be just fears around obsessing over how somebody feels about you.
Yeah.
Or did you do something to upset them?
Yeah.
And then obsessing over what you did or didn't do.
Right.
So it again, like, it attacks the things that you care about. So, like, it's just having a relationship is a responsibility, and like making kind of like the girl I was dating at the time. She had a pet bird, and
that's rough.
When she was out of town, sometimes I'd like go check on it and like make sure it was fed, and but then I'd like have so much trouble like leaving the place. I'm like, what if this bird dies? It's gonna be my fault.
Yeah.
And like making sure her door was locked and like everything was, again, it was like when I have the responsibility of something like that, where something's life is in my hands, then that would really, really spike it. Now that's not necessarily dating, but that was a relationship example.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So is it for you, like, is your OCD like something in your life where you're like, what am I gonna tell this girl that I've been seeing that I got this like OCD that like I have it under control, but like
luckily like I was very open about it, and she knew me well enough where she could like pick up on it, and she was actually very good at being like, I know what you're doing, stop it, sort of thing. Where I couldn't hide it from her, but I could hide it from other people. And I don't know, I go back and forth. When I was really going through it, I would kind of like, maybe it's comedy, but I just became like an open book. I would just like always talk about it. It's like, well, maybe wait till the second, third, fourth date before you have to open up about it. There was a couple times where I feel like I just let it all out too early, and that was probably rightfully so, like maybe like too much too soon.
Well, maybe because even after I asked you that question, I was thinking how like any girl that would think that like you're telling too much too soon, especially in regards to like something like OCD, like that's just not the girl for you.
Right.
Because like you said, you can't do a public thing in private.
Right.
So it's like you like as a partner to somebody that does something like comedy, it's like.
Well, now I feel that way about comedy too. Is like, do I tell them on the first date?
I know.
Do they know ahead of time? They might. Like, you could look me up pretty easily.
Yeah. Right. I know. Because like you never want to feel like you're hiding something from somebody.
And I usually always tell.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, what do you do for fun? And what am I going to say? What am I going to say?
Yeah. Like
I go to, I work out.
I go to vegan restaurants with my friends that make fun of me for it.
And they'd be like,
oh,
you don't do anything.
It will, no, like within 3 steps, it will always lead back to being like, oh, well, I'm a comedian.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you go to vegan restaurants. Oh, and your friends make fun of you for it. Why do they? Well, we're all comedians.
Yeah. Right.
Like
it
literally will always lead back to stand up.
Yes, it will.
So
what do you do at night? I don't know, I'm out with friends a lot.
Yeah.
You're out? You go out every night?
You drink a lot?
Yeah.
No. Then why are you out? What are you doing?
Well, I'm a comedian. You
So,
just can't avoid
yeah,
it.
you can't avoid it.
But nor do you really want to avoid it.
Right.
But I had one friend tell me, he was like, maybe let them get to know you first before they know the comedy thing, because like, you're such a good guy, they're gonna love you for, and then you trap them with the comedy thing. But
yeah, the good guy that traps them.
Yeah, the good guy that traps them, right? But it's just like, I don't know. It's whoever's I'm going to be with has to, like the fact that I do it.
Yeah. Well, because that's the big thing with that is the time of it all.
It's really the time.
It's like, sorry, I can't go to your friend's wedding.
Yes.
I got a gig in Poughkeepsie.
Yes. Poughkeepsie needs me.
Yes. I can't pass up this gig.
Nights and weekends are when comedians work.
Yeah.
And that's usually the free time for the general person.
Yeah. Going into 2024, I was like, I'm getting up on stage. I'm getting booked.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no to a gig,
Yeah.
whatever. And it also happens to be the year that like 4 of my friends get engaged.
Of course. Yeah.
And, you know, I am like being militant about like, let me know when you're thinking wedding dates. 'Cause
Yeah.
I have a list. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to double book myself. And
Yeah.
like already it's
Mhm.
like, oh, I got a bridesmaids brunch coming up on Sunday, the whatever, but I got a gig
Yeah.
on the 4th, but it's 6 hours away.
Yep.
And so, oh my gosh. And it's just like, I want to make it all work.
I know.
Because people that don't do comedy are like, really?
Yeah.
You're going to miss my bridesmaids brunch
Well,
for
you could miss the brunch.
a gig in
You could miss the brunch.
Hunker, PA?
Right. The Hunker one was a pretty good show. I don't think you should miss the brunch.
No, I'm
for
not.
Hunker.
I'm not.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm doing Hunker.
Yeah, but
and I'm doing the brunch too. I'm making
yeah,
both
you
work.
make it work.
Yeah.
Right. There are certain things that are just going to be conflicts, and you pick and choose, and you still got to live a life.
Yeah.
And you got to make time for the things that are important to you. Like it's still important to you. I know it's still important to be there for your friends and have these experiences.
Yeah.
So like you balance it, but you do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I kind of feel like, and the universe could very much prove me wrong, but if I just like say, if I obsess over it, if I freak out over it, like it's not going to do anything. It's honestly just going to make things worse. Like if I just go into it with an energy that it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. And it's literally always fine.
Well, OCD would tell you
otherwise.
Well, no, it would say you don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to turn out horribly.
Right.
Maybe maybe because you're double booked or booked close by, both are going to go bad.
Right.
You're going to upset your friend. You're going to bomb the gig. None of it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
But that's the risk you're willing to take.
The wise words of Michael Monty.
It's many years of therapy. Many years of therapy, research. Yes, it's there's a lot of work that's
you
gone
do
into
have
this.
a good like motivational speaker face, I gotta say. Like you look like a guy that a company would hire to like come in as a consultant.
Listen, I would love that. I come in and I'm like, listen, you guys you don't know how it's going to turn
you
out.
gotta say words like energize and reinvigorate.
Yes.
Like
We're going to reinvigorate the staff. We're going to re-energize them.
We don't know how it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Some of you might lose your job and your health care and potentially your home.
The company could go under.
Yeah.
But you got to come to work. You got to be passionate
and
about
they're
it.
paying me.
Yeah. They're paying me to come in and tell you that.
That's like the See, nothing's original. Mancusi literally just posted a sketch of him being like, I'm a consultant.
Yes, of course.
They're paying me $50,000 to come in here, and I'm a temporary guy.
Right.
Also, the CEO is my brother-in-law.
Right. I would like to. That would be a nice life.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Just like scamming people.
Scamming
businesses.
Just being like a public speaker, you come in and because we've all been through those workshops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where like some random person comes in and runs you through these weird icebreakers.
Yep.
And like, they're in and out in 3 or 4 days, and it's like your company retreat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a good game to be in.
It is a good game, and like, because I kind of noticed like there's like people in like the early 2010s who were positivity, like like the power of positivity. If you're positive, then your life's going to be positive, and that's just how it is. Like if you are positive, and they were like these very like toxically positive people.
Yeah.
And now in 2024 now, in the 2020s, it's those same toxic positivity people are now manifestation people.
Oh, right.
They're like, if you dream it, you can be it. And I'm like, okay, you gotta stick with the same gag. Like,
they're adjusting.
Yeah. Like,
people have caught on to the positivity
fool me
thing.
once.
So they're shifting.
They're shifting,
to manifesting.
right? And to becoming these spiritual and manifestation people.
Yeah.
And I think being positive is good.
I think it's good.
Manifestation's good.
Yeah.
But you can just kind of tell when someone's like performing a racket.
Yes, right.
You know?
So it's like a pyramid scheme,
Yeah.
Ponzi scheme sort of thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell when people aren't genuine and they're just trying to get how many life coaches and
Yeah.
whatever people are on Instagram doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Buy my course.
Yeah.
Power of manifestation, power of positivity.
It's just people like really good at Canva.
Yeah,
You can
right.
put together a nice little motivational infographic quote.
Which we are building those skills. So we could start our own online motivational course, life advice.
Honestly, I am so good at Canva at this point.
Yeah.
I do pay for Canva Pro.
Yeah.
I'm so good at Canva. I probably could make a motivational.
It's all graphics.
Yeah.
Things coming in.
Nice colors.
Yeah.
Now Instagram lets you add a little song.
Yeah. You add a little song. It's just all smoke and mirrors.
That's all it is, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really all it is. What a life.
It's a great life.
What a life.
Yeah.
So would you say that OCD is something you're insecure about, or is there other things that you're insecure about? Or do you not have any insecurities?
No, listen, I got insecurities. Yeah, I don't know if I'm. Again, like even just the examples of like trying to hide it from people shows that I was insecure about it, or just like embarrassed. Shame. You'd feel with shame and embarrassment if people caught me doing some weird things. But yeah, like I have insecurities. I think I'm too much risk averse. I think of course.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. What else do I have? I have all other insecurities. I'm not where I should be at in my life currently.
No.
I'm not further along in comedy. I'm not further along in my career. These are all like things I'm insecure about.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't have a relationship yet that I want. Like things in the past didn't work out the way I wanted them to.
I know, but when it hits, it's just gonna hit. And you're going to be like, oh, this all happened when it was supposed to.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy. But, like, yeah, there are things that, like, I wish... Yeah, like, I'd say all those things, all those main things.
Right.
I have some insecurities about.
Totally. I mean...
My whole life is insecure.
What are you even doing here?
Yeah. No. I'm very secure, but I don't know. It's the human nature. There's a dichotomy of it, right?
I know, especially because like you look around at like what your friends are doing, and you're like, should I be filming a 30-minute special? Like,
right,
like,
of course.
You're, like, freaking out about it.
Yeah, again, with like a social media era, that all like crosses your mind of like, this person's doing that, or you try not to. And I'm genuinely happy for people when they get things, but it's also like, well, now what do I have to do?
Yeah, the piece of advice I had gotten starting comedy was you have to have horse blinders on.
Yeah.
Like if you spend all this time looking at what other people are doing instead of just focusing on you and like what you're doing, it's just really going to drag you down.
Agreed, yeah.
And like you'll know when you're ready to do something that you're kind of jealous that someone else is doing right now.
Right.
So I took comfort in that.
I think that's good advice. We're all on our own path.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
So don't worry about it. Pay $29.99 a month for my life course.
Yeah. Okay, so I just have some quick little finish the sentence prompts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You can think as long or as little about these.
Okay.
And we'll just run through them and we'll wrap up.
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome. Okay. So finish the sentence. When I look at a photo of my younger self, ...
Mm-hmm.
When I look at a photo of my younger self.
Oh, that's the
prompt.
When I look at a photo of my younger self, I'm like, where did the time go?
Where did the time go?
Mm-hmm.
That's deep, man.
Yeah.
Do you miss being a kid? Do you wish you could go back?
I don't wish I could go back, but I have very fond memories of being a kid. Great childhood, great friends, great family. Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did love it. I wouldn't go back just because it's just like I like where I'm at now, even though I'm insecure about it all. But I don't know. Whenever I think about even like going back a couple years ago, I'm like, I don't think I'd want to.
Yeah. Always moving forward.
Always move forward.
So I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, a mistake I'll never make again.
Mistake I'll never make again. Not going to therapy.
Okay, I like that. That's a good one.
I put it off for longer than I should have.
You would have gone sooner.
Yeah.
Why do you think you were pushing it off?
Again, it just wasn't something that like I grew up with or like felt. There's always like a bit of a pride thing, like, oh, I can figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it.
I think also the time from college to real life is such... We need like a chicken soup for the soul book about that because it is so jarring.
Yeah, like, you're not living a real life in college.
No, and it's like pretend, and
it's
like
pretend.
You're made to feel, and I'm, I was whoa, whiny babies that got to go to college. But like, you're made to feel like college. This is when you become an adult, and like, I did learn how to like, you know, interact in a professional sense with like my peers and my professors and all that stuff that like you need to learn. I learned how to be a person. That's what I always say about college. But then all of a sudden you're out of college and it's like, oh, in November your student loans kick in, and oh, here's the thing about health insurance, and you're just like,
it's a harsh reality. Yeah.
So it's so disorienting, and so it makes sense timeline wise.
Yeah.
Like you said, I was getting out of college.
It was in those first few years out of college where it's like, okay, I'm really an adult now, and I got these decisions, and they're overwhelming, and just the anxieties of life. I'm like, well, leading up to college, everything was great, sort of. But now I'm out, and it's like, what do I got to work?
Everything was
next 50, 60 years of my life and collect a paycheck and have health insurance. And you immediately see like the next, the rest of your life. Yeah. In those first few years out of college, you're like, this is what it is for the rest of time. I saw it like the first day I went to work. I'm like, I gotta have to do this the rest of my life. I'm not into this. It took me, 7 years after that or whatever to start comedy, but like, it
really was like being in an office too that helped finally push me into doing comedy, because it was like a good 2 years of me sitting on this like note in my phone of like jokes, really bad jokes, nothing jokes, but like it's what I had. It was just 2 years of compiling that list, until finally my boss yelled at me for being on my phone, and I was like, I can't fucking do this. I got it, and I just went to an open mic.
That's great.
And then I never stopped.
I love that.
That's so funny. You knew from like the first day. You're like, this.
I was like, this is
fucking sucks.
I can't do it. Yeah.
And so people really will. That's why, because life sucks. Why there are motivational speakers.
Yes.
Why people do have Canva accounts where they have like these like.
You're going through the monotony of the everyday, and I very much felt like I was going through the motions. Of life, and I felt like I had lost my passion for it, and lost like what I was working towards. I didn't even have an idea of what I wanted to do. So I felt, and like that adds a lot of anxiety. That was a period of way more insecurity. When I wasn't doing things I wanted to do.
And talk about comparing yourself to your friends. Because like you're seeing the people around you that like you went to college with, seeming like
they're all taken off.
They're all
they all get the
how
best
do you
jobs
have a private
ever.
Jet? Like,
they all have like sick apartments and like like a great relationship, and it's true. They all do.
Fuck them.
No, I'm bad.
No, they're lovely.
They're
great.
But they look at us and they're like, "Well, you're doing comedy. That's so fun."
I know.
Yeah.
And it's like
grass is always greener.
Grass is always greener. Yep.
$29.99.
Mike, where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram, Mike Bramante on Instagram, Mike_Bramante.
The guy got great clips.
I post most stuff on there, and that's where you can find me.
And on TikTok, same handle.
TikTok's, I think it might be Mike Bramante. Yeah, same thing. You just put in my name.
Everything is in the description.
Everything you can find just by my name.
Amazing.
YouTube channel.
YouTube. Yeah. And the Mike and Mike Show.
And the Mike and Mike Show. It's a show, not
Mike
a podcast.
and Mike with Manic.
Yeah. So, thanks for having me on.
Thank you for doing it. All right, guys. Until next Friday. Bye.